Welcome to the Journey Mindfulness Podcast, where the inner world meets the infinite. I'm James O'Neill, and together we explore consciousness, the soul, mindfulness, and the mysteries beyond our world, and most importantly, how to integrate all of it into the life you're living right now. Welcome to the Journey Mindfulness Podcast. Today, I'm joined by someone whose work carries a rare combination of depth, clarity, and humility. Zohar Bahir is a former airline pilot turned spiritual teacher, shamanic practitioner, and a channel with over 3 decades, maybe more, of lived experience in spiritual practice. She's known for her work channeling a collective consciousness known as Sothis, as well as for her grounded experiential approach to awakening and multidimensional perception. What I appreciate most about Zohar is not just the frequency she brings, which is quite high, but the way she honors discernment, embodiment, and, of course, lived integration. Her work doesn't ask us to escape humanity, but to inhabit it more fully, consciously, and responsibly. Zohar, it is a real honor to welcome you. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me, James, and thank you for these wonderful compliments that you have just given to myself and to Sothis and to the work that we do together.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here and indeed a joy too.
Yeah. So how did you, um, before we talk about channeling and consciousness, I'd love to start with you. So how do you describe what you do in a way that feels true and grounded?
Well, I would say that I divide my time between channeling Sothis, so I would say I am a channel of Sothis who bring the light of Sirius, the energy of Sirius to many people, and they have been doing so since 1997. And the other part of my life is my shamanic practice, and it could almost be said that I'm doing a lot more shamanic work than I do channeling, because the channeling is typically is a session with an individual or a webinar. It lasts an hour, and there's not much preparation. In my shamanic work, I do healing, and that the session can be anything between 3 or 4 hours, and then I teach courses, and I teach courses on a variety of shamanic subjects. And also, I teach a shamanic practitioner course. So that gets quite involved. Yes.
Yeah. And we'll talk more about it, but people can get certified in shamanic
Yes.
work with you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So when did Sothis come into your life, or how did that occur?
A dear friend back in 1996 gave me a wonderful present for my birthday, and it was a channeled consultation with a woman called Sean Rundle, and she is channeling a being called Torah. You might have heard of them. I think she still channels, as a matter of fact. She's based in, or was based in Los Angeles at the time.
Okay.
And during the consultation, Torah suggested that I might like to look at channeling. So I inquired after the consultation from Sean, whether she knew a way that I can learn how to do that. And Sean said to me, well, I come once a year to Britain, and that's going to happen in a few months' time. And there's a College of Psychic Studies in London, and I'm going to give a workshop there. So in 1997, I went to Sean Rundle's workshop at the College of Psychic Studies. And Sothis came straight away. Like the first time I ever channeled, there they were. And they haven't left since.
Mm, wow. So for
And
those
and
that,
um, and all of that time, the initial years, because I started my spiritual journey back in early 1980s.
okay,
And I was, yes, I was an airline pilot. I was a full-time um, airline pilot. I was flying Boeing 767 all over the globe, and I've enjoyed it tremendously. I loved flying. I loved the profession, and I loved everything about it. And at the same time, I started to explore spirituality, personal growth, and I went to loads of workshops in many places and just kept exploring. I had access to flying worldwide to different workshops, and I took full advantage of that and basically spent all my time off from work. Being a workshop junkie all the decades, yes. And since Sothis came in 1997, so that was obviously quite a few years, I was already well into the spiritual journey and exploration. The journey has deepened, and I learned a lot from Sothis over the many years that I've been channeling them. Now, having said that, the connection has gone through phases where initially I was not that well connected and still finding my way. And I started also teaching channeling very soon after that. I was invited to join Tony and Anne Neat. He was at the time the director of the College of Psychic Studies. And I went to do a channeling workshop with him. And he invited me to teach with them because he really liked Sothis and their energy. And but that was all a process of growth, of learning how to get more and more out of the way so that the transmissions were as clear as possible. Yeah, so the work has been deepening and widening over the many years that I have been channeling.
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say that, just like the evolution and the progression of how that happens, right? Because in a sense, the channel has to be clear. Like you can't get away from doing your own work.
Absolutely, yes. And everything that I was doing, even though it might have been something quite insignificant or small in the eyes of perhaps people around me, but I felt that everything that I do towards clearing my energy and personally growing and healing from all the stuff. We are humans and we grow up and we encounter the world and we go through our traumas and tragedies and um, all the journey that we do. So a lot of work, of inner work, a lot of growth over the many years. And I have to say that it wasn't really something that I saw as a chore because I really loved it. I loved going to workshops and I loved listening to all these wonderful teachers that are around. And these were the days before the internet. The internet became so widespread, and so it meant physically traveling to many different places to learn and to be taught and to grow and expand.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Like you really had to probably seek them out. It wasn't obvious, and you couldn't just watch a YouTube video on your device.
No.
Um, so within that um that journey, how did you find, because there's your individual path, but you were also an airline pilot, and knowing airline pilots and pilots in general,
Yes,
they're very serious, very science-based, very meticulous.
yes, yes, absolutely. Um,
So it brings an
s-
air of, I want to mention that just because it brings to me, to my mind, knowing pilots, um, legitimacy to this work.
Thank you. Um, in a strange way, in order to take a big jet into the air and do the job in the way that it's meant to be done, you have to be very grounded to get airborne. Yes, it sounds like a contradiction, but it's absolutely true. And you have to be very left brain, yes, left brained, or using the left hemisphere of the brain. At the same time, there is also in this job an element of intuition, and it's felt when flying the aircraft manually. Many times I found that my hand was on the thrust levers, and I started increasing power before I even there was that dip and the turbulence, and so there is a sixth sense. And in the days that I was really in the flow, I felt that I got onto the aircraft and I sat in my seat, and I wasn't strapping myself to the aircraft, I was strapping the aircraft onto me. And I felt everything that was happening on the wings, um, and and I wasn't thinking about it so much because I had the job to do and I had to stay with the job. But one thing I always did is before every single takeoff I did, I used to have my hand on the thrust levers as we were lining up on the runway, and we got the takeoff clearance. And I always used to say inside my head, fly with the angels. And I always visualized one angel on the left wing, one angel on the right wing, and all the aircraft filled with light. And we went, right, thrust levers forward, and we're going.
That's really interesting to hear you say that. I mean, like, because you're in some aspects, you're talking about flow states too, being one with the aircraft as it moves through, and also being guided by that intuition where you're not even thinking about it. It's just you're already
Yes,
preparing for the next bump in
yes.
the sky.
Yes, yes. It sort of just was happening. Like I didn't have to think about it. And it was just what they called in the old days flying by the seat of your pants. But that's where, the whole body is involved. And of course the right brain.
Yeah.
Yes, in that sensing. Oh, and I could never tell why was I sensing it. My hand was just moving the thrust levers forward to
Hmm.
counteract before it was actually happening. So
Yeah.
I cannot explain it, just to say that there was perhaps some signal to my intuitive self that that was the case. And yes, so I think it's not just me. I think that that's the case with many experienced pilots, that they come to the point where they're able to use their intuition.
Well, it's interesting because, in mentioning your experience as an airline pilot, like I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and as you do your work, however you go about that, eventually you start to realize there is a sixth sense. There is something
Yes,
else that's
there
guiding you.
is. Exactly.
And it is not, it's not woo. You'll miss it if you're just a skeptic, or, you're not paying attention to it, because it's there to help.
Yes.
It can be helpful. It's there for your help.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yes, as long as it's balanced. And having said that, I was and still am a skeptic.
Good. Yeah.
Because,
Please,
you
yeah, please say
know,
more about that.
yes, you see, James, I've been channeling for many years now. What is it, 2027? Since 1997. So, yeah, quite a few years. And And the thing about spirituality, and that actually is something that shamanism holds as well, is that you see, in shamanism we say that one can never call themselves a shaman. It is a title that is bestowed upon the person by other people, because saying that you are a shaman is like saying that you are a hero. I'm a hero. I'm a hero. I'm a hero.
Hmm.
And other people, and that depends on the track record of healing miracles, says to other people, oh yes, this person is a shaman, but I would never call myself a shaman. And the main reason is, and that applies to Sothis as well, is that I can never say with absolute surety that in the case of shamanism that the spirit allies are going to be there on the day. So far, they're always there, and I call them, I merge with them, and I do the work. Same with Sothis. So far, they have been there, but it's not something that is absolute, and this is why I I say, well, I'm a channel of Sothis, but it could be that on a day where perhaps maybe I'm not feeling well or something happened and I'm not connecting properly. It could be, well, hopefully not today, but it could be that I'm not connecting with them in the way that I wish to connect, that the connection is not a deep one and it's perhaps interrupted. And that means that Zohar is getting every so often into the transmission, which is not desirable. So, so yes, you said something about humility. I feel that it's so necessary for this work. Is I cannot assume, and I will not assume. I hope I
I,
ask Sothis when I'm about to channel for you. I'm going to, always as I do, I go into my space and I ask Sothis to merge with me. And it's a group of beings, so they are called Sothis and the 12, and I always call them that, Sothis and the 12, when I go into the channel in space. And, fingers crossed, they're there. Yes.
yeah.
Today I feel
Well,
them. I feel they're already near and already
well,
raring to go.
I feel very connected to Sothis for whatever reason, and I having seen them for several hours of your channeling now, it's quite amazing. But it's funny you brought that up about what you just said about humility. Because the next thing I really wanted to highlight for my audience is that I deeply respect your emphasis on discernment, right? Like your ability to like
Yes,
pay attention to that. What's my role in this transmission between imagination, intuition, and the true transmission. It's very important, because you will see that not everyone, we all channel, but we all have some aspect of ourselves that gets into that sometimes in a way. So like if we're not careful, we can be injecting our own beliefs, attitudes, opinions into
yes,
things that perhaps weren't necessarily intended to come through.
yes, exactly. Yes.
So a
And
distortion versus
and
clean.
yes, and it does require some vigilance on the process. In other words, um, once it comes beforehand in my preparation period, so I merge with them. I've already merged with them today and with other spirit allies, and that begins to change my frequencies, and so that I come into, I can never be, as long as I'm physical, and even beyond the physical, there is a lot of growth that will need to happen. So I can't say I can match my frequencies with them, but I can come closer. Yes. So before any session, I have a little bit of time where I prepare myself. And hopefully, in that time, I can sense that, like now, I'm sensing they're very near. They are kind of wanting to come and begin. And they know, yes, they will in a few minutes. They will speak, and they're very. I can feel their excitement, but it does always is at the back of my mind the fact that I can't just coast along. Not for me. Maybe for other channels it happens, but for me, um, I always have to bear in mind that I'm a vessel. Yes, I'm not really the important one in the work. It's like um, you have this magnificent gateway. It's very beautiful, and you know that the king and the queen are going to walk through this gateway, and you might notice the gateway at a certain point before it starts, like you're noticing me now because we're speaking. But once it starts, the channeling starts, then it's like the king and the queen are walking through, and nobody pays attention to the gateway. Everyone is looking at the king and the queen. Yes. So I feel in the same way, I'm just a gateway. I'm a portal through which Sothis can come and talk.
Yeah. No, it's beautifully explained. Thank you for that. Um, One of the things I wanted to ask you too, Zohar, is that many people, and I would say it's growing, are drawn to higher states of consciousness, but struggle to integrate that learning and experiences into relationships or parenting or work in the nervous system. What does integration look like from your perspective?
Um, For me, it's first of all, it's a process, and it's not going to happen typically. It's not going to happen from one day to the next. It's something that is um, growing and changing and evolving and expanding. Yes. So, and that process for me relies significantly on my relationships with my spiritual realm and the spirit allies, the spirit helpers, like Sothis, like the many, many others who have a big entourage of spirit helpers. And it's developing and deepening the relationship with them. And it's a process where when you begin, you um, you look at it. Oh yes, I sometimes I remember that I have a sacred self and I have a power animal perhaps, and I have a gatekeeper and I have this and I have my guardian angels, and sometimes, and when I do remember, I call upon them in the beginning, and then as the relationships deepen and deepen, it becomes yes, it becomes the port of call. This is
Hmm.
where I go. Anything crops up in my life, I go to this port of call. Yes.
Yeah.
And as it deepens further, it becomes the only port of call. The spirits become the, and I'm talking, when I'm saying spirits, I'm not talking about somebody's aunt or uncle or grandma that has passed. I'm talking about ascended and transcended beings, yes, who are all loving and all compassionate and all knowing and all wise, ascended, transcended beings. Yes,
Hmm.
so my relationship with my spiritual realm is a thriving one, and this is where I go at all times. Anything happens in my life, that is my only port of call. And then once I've met with them, I've dialogued with them, I looked at it from the different perspectives, then I come back to this reality and I deal with it. but it starts in non-ordinary reality and then go, not the other way around. Just like as we are physical beings, yes, everything in the physical starts its journey in pure non-physical, and it's a process of step down generation where it becomes deeper and deeper, sorry, denser and denser, I mean to say, and and then it precipitates from the non-ordinary reality into ordinary reality, becoming everything that is physical. It manifests in physicality. So that's how I work with it.
Yeah, very nice. So, before we get to the channeling, I want to
Yes.
kind of touch on your grounding and maybe also your shamanic initiation and embodiment, because you spent time living in with the Shipibo. Am
Yes,
I,
so yes, I went to Peru and I spent 5 months all in all with the Shipibo. And I also met with them in other places that they would be Shipibo shaman, like in Portugal and other places, um, the Netherlands and so on and so forth. So I was initiated in with the Shipibo maestro, the curandero, the master healer, and then I came back to the UK. That was in 2014. So I was already very, very involved with my spiritual journey. As I said, since the early 80s, I started. So I went there. I wasn't green. It wasn't like a brand new experience. Okay, yes, of course, plant medicine and everything else, but um, I wasn't new to the spiritual, and I brought with me into that period of time working with plant medicine. I brought all of that treasure, that spiritual treasure that I have been accumulating over the many years. Yes, and and so therefore I feel that my experience there was very deep, and a lot of things happened. However, when I got back to the UK and started working with plant medicine, I realized very quickly and very early on that I was missing some major teachings in shamanism because I only knew the Shipibo ways. And I then went and did a 3 years course in classical shamanism, where I became a shamanic practitioner. Then I did a further year, which was just for women, also shamanism, but particularly for women. And so I had 4 years training. The first 3 years were very rigorous and very encompassing, and I learned a lot. And and since I've done this course and I've then done many other courses in shamanism, because the journey never stops. We always want to. It's all about becoming more of who we are, isn't it? This physical life that we are living, right? And so
yes, hang on. I want to highlight that. Can you say that again? I feel like that's a really important
it's
point.
it's it's about, for me, becoming more of who I am. In other words, ever deepening and ever expanding in the physical. Yes, as
Hmm.
long as I'm here, this is the journey. Yes, and so I never stop learning. It's an ongoing process, and it will continue until I finish this life.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm pretty certain about that. Yeah, fingers crossed. I can still learn on my last day.
Yeah, I mean I agree. You chop wood, carry water. You just keep going along. There's
Yes,
no end to it. Um,
exactly. And we still have to deal every so often. Something triggers us and activates something, and we still need to deal with it. That's being physical. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
Hmm.
magic of that is that we grow out of everything. And so we come back to this idea. Yeah, this experience taught me more about myself, and I became more as a result.
Yeah, I think you're able to shift your perspective and sort of see how things are being played out and not get sucked into the mud of it, I guess.
Yes, and largely the thing is about not being stuck is because I go to the spirit allies first.
Mm.
Yes, so when I get the perspective, it comes from that level.
But and you're asking, right? Free will.
Always. If you don't ask, the thing is that we are dealing with ascended and transcended beings, and these beings will never, ever, ever intrude upon us because that contravenes the most basic primal principle of this universe. And the primal principle of this universe is that this is a universe of free choice. So they would never, ever intrude upon us. Sometimes they might intervene. They do it by if they see us going on a completely new track that is not going to take us to a good place. Sometimes they will intervene. They will nudge us, nudge just a little bit to get us back to track. But for the most, they will just let us do what we want to do because this is what it's all about, free choice.
Yeah. Um, so one more question before we get into the
Sure.
channeling.
Yes.
So obviously I'm a psychotherapist, but I also have embarked on, through meditation and th like opening up to this spiritual side of life. Um, Sometimes spiritual insight outpaces our nervous system. How do you see the relationship between like frequency embodiment and also just nervous system regulation?
Again, it's a process, and it's something
Hmm.
that happens over time where the more you connect to your spirit allies, the more your frequencies are going to change. And therefore, it's going to be a much smoother transition, if you like, to the reality that you want to create. And so on the website, there's all the time more and more transmissions coming on. And Sothis is talking, and they have been talking all these years about reality creation and how to go about it, how to work with the non-physical in order to manifest what we want to manifest. And it's usually a process of clearing first and then bringing in the light. Because what can happen sometimes is you're going to start learning ways of bringing in the light, but you're bringing it into your the physical, of course, the physical self. You're also bringing it into your etheric self. You're also bringing it into your energy field, and it many times it happens it's got to go through so many filters that it gets distorted, and then you end up creating distorted reality that perhaps you didn't wish to. Well, for sure, for most people, they don't want to create distorted reality. They want the nice realities, of course. It's kind of like a no-brainer. Everyone wants to be happy and everyone wants to create beautiful realities. That's a given. But for all of us, it needs to go through the filters, our filters of perception. And so one needs to clear those filters first, which involves, when Sothis is talking about it, they talk about clearing core beliefs that we hold. That
Hmm.
is something that is so fundamental because the primary function of those filters is that they are the core beliefs. They become part of our filter system. And so when we hear things, everything we hear, everything we perceive, everything we intuit has to come to us through those filters. So
Yeah.
it's working with these parameters
Yeah.
that is going to make it smoother. And when you start clearing the filters, then the light that you bring in when you're working with the ascended beings, your spirit allies, when you're working with your spirit allies and you're bringing in a lot of light, it's got to be able to sit with you, to be a part of you, an integral part of you. And
Yeah.
that takes the clearing work. Yes. And
Yeah.
it does, like I said in the beginning, it doesn't matter if it's something very small that you do on the day. So today I have a very specific fear of whatever, driving in a specific area. I don't feel comfortable. So talk to the spirit allies about it. When I go to this area, I'm driving, I don't feel comfortable. What do you think about that? Dialogue with them. And then you can then take, okay, what can I do? Well, let's clear these belief systems that you have around this action. And it might not seem anything big, but you have cleared something. And because it's a hologram, you know that the reality that we have around us is a hologram. And because of it, every part contains elements of all the other parts. So if you clear one thing here about driving through a specific area, that thing there is organically going to get sorted, that thing there and the other one over there, because it's a hologram.
Mm.
Yes. So you start, my advice for anyone is to start with the easy things. Don't take to the spiritualists the most complex issues you've got in your life. Take something small and build up the confidence. Because remember, when it comes to these spirit allies, um, they are ascended and transcended beings. And as such, you can trust them implicitly. Yes, they are all loving and all compassionate. They're all knowing and all wise, transcended, ascended beings. You can trust them, but you're not perhaps at the stage where you trust your filters, because also the information that they bring to you has to also pass through the filters. So until such point as you're doing the work, you're clearing, you're sorting, you're doing inner work, and everything you do is helpful. Until such point, if you start with the little things, you build up that confidence. And then when you come to them with the big question, you can say, okay, yeah, that sounds like my spirit allies. So if they told me to today to pack up and move to Timbuktu, then oh no, doesn't sound like my spirit allies. I'm not going to trust this message. You see, it's like
Mm.
maybe the negative ego got in the way, and as usual, as what happens to all of us, and wants to destroy us. So move to Timbuktu and see how you find life there. Okay, so I think that's the way to go about it at least in the initial stages, and then you get muscle, spiritual
Yeah.
muscle. Yeah. And then
I
you do
like it.
more and more and more, and then you're working with the light, and you're merging with your allies, with those spiritual beings of the beings of light, and then it carries a heavy and juicy energy that can really change worlds. Yes,
Well, on that note, could
yes,
we
yes,
welcome Sothis in?
sure, yes.
Excellent.
Okay. Greetings, we are Sothis, and we are delighted to be here with you, James, and with all those who are going to be listening to this transmission. And it is a pleasure and it is a joy to be with you this rainy afternoon here in Britain, and whatever the weather is on the other side of the world where you are. And so a very warm welcome into our realms, and we are delighted to share this time-space segment with you. And you probably have many, many questions and topics that you would perhaps like to explore. And we are here to delve with you um, into those topics. And so, would you like to please go ahead?
Yeah, well, thank you for being here. I've been very excited to speak with you again, and I do have many questions, and I perhaps could start with any words you can share about, from our humanity's sort of current vantage point, what in this period of time when we talk about awakening or ascension or this cycle of time, what feels most maybe misunderstood about this period of collective awakening that we're living through?
Mhm. Yes. So, the first thing to know is that for all of you who are diligently working with the spiritual, for all of you who are on this journey of exploration, it is true to say that your frequencies are in the process of speeding up. And therefore, as a result of that, the what seems to you the time is speeding up. Yes. And the what that means is that the the space time between you thinking a thought and it ending up manifesting is getting shorter and shorter. Yes. And you are probably, most of you are finding that that time segment between thought and actualizing the thought is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Yes, now what seems to be the case is that you say to yourself, oh, the time is flying so fast, and it was only just Christmas and now it's Christmas again, for example, or here we are, it's Easter again, or here we are, we're going through the year. And it seems like time is compressing. That is not true. Time is not compressing. Time is an agreement that you have as humans. You could not operate without the element of time. So you have an agreement about the clocks and the watches and the international times, etc., etc. That remains as it is. What speeds up are your frequencies, and that can bring the illusion that time is speeding up. Now, because that space between the thought and the actualization is getting smaller and smaller, it becomes absolutely necessary for all of you to be vigilant about what you're thinking. In other words, the level of your awareness has to be that much more acute so that you can identify, oh, excuse me, I don't want to manifest this reality, and to work with it. Why am I having this thought? And for the many years that we have been working with our physical friends, for the decades that we have been working, we always talked about giving voice um, to the different beings who are talking inside your head. Now, you all have this, and then some of you are into doing meditations to quiet those voices that are going in your head non-stop at all hours that you are awake. And we've talked about giving voice to these beings that are talking. And who are those beings? So primarily they're aspects of yourself. It can be the infant, and that in that case the voice can be pre-verbal, but it's still there. It can be the child within, it can be the adolescent, it can be the young adult, the adult you, the nurturing parent, the critical parent, and etc., etc., etc. And so it's not to deny these voices, but to allow them when they start. You are being vigilant. You choose from now on, I'm willing to be vigilant so that I can create the reality that I want to create. And oops, there is a thought that is not in alignment with the reality that you wish to create. Let's hear this thought rather than moving on and dismissing it, because you see, growth never happens through denial. And in order for you to work with this, because mostly these voices will lead you to the core beliefs that you are holding. And so it is for you to say, well, okay, let me listen. What does this voice? And you don't need to identify it. Is it my child? Is it my adolescent? Is it my the adult? Is it? No, there is no need for you to identify what this voice is. All you need to do is listen. Listen deeply to what they have to say, because for the most part they want to protect you. The voices within, they want to protect you. And they want to protect you because you had previous experiences where you might have fallen or failed in whatever endeavor you set to do, set to explore. And so you listen. Yes, okay, yes, you let them talk, and then you say, thank you, but as the spiritual adult, I no longer need this protection. I have spirit allies, I have angels, I have goddess and God, and I have my spiritual domain, and I can go and seek the protection that I need. It's always with me. I've asked for it, and all it takes, you don't need to know complicated technique. All you need to say is, spirit allies, I ask for divine protection. That's it. That's all you need to say. And they will be there. They're waiting all the time. They're waiting for the invitation. And so we recommend to start by being alert and vigilant to the thoughts that you have. And that requires a willingness, because perhaps this is something that you're not used to doing. And it's like any habit, it takes work to become something that you can handle, and you can then handle effectively. So you do that, and once you say, well, yes, I'm now a spiritual human being, and this is what I choose to do. You make the statement, I choose to do, because choice is one of the most powerful tools that you have when you're creating your own reality. It starts with choice and with intention. Yes? So you have an intention, you have the choice. And then once you have stated that to yourself, you might start hearing the voices. And this is when you listen to them. And then, thank you for telling me. I appreciate you very much. Thank you. However, as the spiritual adult that I am, I choose to do this. I have the protection. I'm no longer in danger. Yes? And then we recommend that you actually get up. If you were sitting in your living room on your couch, then perhaps you get up and you move to the kitchen and you make yourself a cup of tea to put a finality to it in the physical. And so you're cutting from that, you're moving on. Yes? So that's how you start. Be alert and vigilant to your thoughts. And then you will find that in that process, the more you do it, the more you'll be able to allow the positive thoughts to come, those that you do wish to nurture and to evolve and to deepen into. Yes. Does this answer your question? So this would
Yes,
be the
very
first
much.
step. Yes.
There's
And
an
then the
element of
second,
mindfulness. Oh,
please say that again.
there's an element of mindfulness, being aware of the quality
Absolutely.
of the
Yes.
mind.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And then the next element would be to work with the spirit allies so that you get used to these high frequencies, the faster frequencies, because you are on an accelerated journey, and the frequencies are accelerating. Yes, and you're seeing it all around you. So you need to be in a place where you're able to absorb light. Yes, so your brain breathes it light, and in the many transmissions we do talk about how you can do that. We take you on a journey to explore this particular idea of what do I do, and there are more of them coming very soon. Transmissions on how to work with the light, how to embody the light, so that you're emitting high level frequencies, and that means that you're meeting people in your reality that are more in alignment with who you are, and you're meeting high level beings who are in alignment with the light. Yes. Now there is a lot of talk in the circles that you have in your reality about extraterrestrial contact, etc., etc. And presumably you want to meet the highest level of extraterrestrial that you are that is possible for you to perceive, and for that you need to be able to vibrate at these higher frequencies. You see, so all of you, all day long, you're emitting frequencies of vibrations. Yes, you're emitting frequencies all day long, and they are created by your thoughts, by your feelings, by your choices, by your decisions, by etc., etc. Now, all of these frequencies that you're emitting all day create a field of resonance. And it is this field of resonance which allows certain frequencies to flow towards you, and this allow other frequencies to be repelled away, because you don't want your first encounter of extraterrestrial to be with those who perhaps do not have your best interest in mind. No, of course you don't. You want to meet the high level beings who are of the light. Yes, and for this you need to vibrate those frequencies of light yourself. Yes. So even if you didn't know anything, you've never done any training, you do know that there is God. You do know that there is the goddess. Yes, you do know about the angelic realms. You do know that there are beings of light out there. You can call upon goddess, the goddess, yes. Call upon the goddess, call upon the angelic realms, call upon many of them. You don't have to limit yourself to one or two. Yes, when Zohar does her shamanic healing, she calls upon 100,000 healing angels. They're there, they're wishing to help. Why not? Why not call upon them? So they will come, those you know, if you're working with a power animal, you're working with a body protector, you're working with a gatekeeper, you're working with your sacred self, or sometimes known as the higher self or the true self. You're working with all of these beings. Call upon them and ask them, can you please merge with me so that I can absorb your light? Yes. Now, you might think, well, I don't know how to merge. What do you mean by merge? Merging means becoming one with. one with. Yes, merge with me. You do not need to know how to merge. Why? Because they know how to merge. You only need to ask, can you please fill me, merge with me, fill me with your frequencies, fill me with your light. Yes? And as in your discussion with Zohar before, yes, it still has to go through your filters. But the more you do it and the more you do the work of allowing the voices to have their say and to release, to release, to release, the more of the light you will be able to absorb. And then you start working with your energy field of breathing in the light, and especially the brain breathes light. So you breathe in the light and fill your brain to full with the light and fill your body with the light of the goddess, of the God, that masculine, divine masculine of the universe, the divine feminine, all of these, the many, many angels. You breathe them in, you breathe them in, and as you exhale this light into your energy field. See, people who are very effective in your world tend to have a big energy field, strong, big energy field. Now, we're saying all of these, and it can be very seductive to the negative ego, because the negative ego wants to feel special, yes, not unique, special, yes, and to have that, oh, I want to feel powerful and special. And you have to guard against that. That is very important to do it with the right motivation. I'm doing it so that my own frequencies can increase. It's not about having power over, it's about having personal power. Yes? And you can then work with your chakras as you're filling your energy field, and look at your chakras and look at that idea of power. For example, with your first chakra, how much power do you have in your safety and security? Second chakra, how much power is there in my pleasure, in my sensuality, in my sexuality? Ask yourself these questions. Or how powerful is this part of myself, the sensual, the sexual, the one that can receive and give pleasure? Here, the power of the will, the power of my will. How powerful is it in my life? How powerful is my heart in the giving and receiving of love? How powerful is my expression in this? How powerful is my intuition? How powerful, seventh chakra, that revolving door to spirit that is located with your pineal gland. Well, it's just, in the physicality, it is the pineal gland, but as an energetic configuration, it is the seventh chakra. And so, how much power is there in my relationship to spirit? Yes. And so you work with it this way, you develop, you make a choice. I'm here about growth. I want to be more of who I am. I want to deepen my expression in this world. I want to expand. And you do it, you expand, you absorb the light, you expand it to your energy field. So this is to start with.
Mm. So tuning in with our energy and determining where we are, and then making the choice to expand in those areas of need.
Yes. And any area in your life that you feel is lacking, you can then flow that light towards it. And you might think, well, what do they mean, Sothis, when they're saying flow the light? I don't really see that. See, bottom line, in any physical manifestation, when you start breaking it down to its cells and molecules and atoms and electrons and subatomic particles, and then you have all the spaces in between, and there's more power in the space in between. And we've talked about it numerous times on the transmission of the void. We particularly talk about this, that power that exists in the space in between, that is enormous in its magnitude. And so it's about all of that exists in your life. When you break it down, when you break everything down, becomes light and the space in between. And you can journey to the void, and that transmission on the void can help you to do that. And you can absorb that light that is beyond the void. You go through the void, that's the place of power, and you move to the formless form, that which has not been created yet, and you work with the light that creates. And so on the very, very fundamental level, it all starts and ends with light. Yes, because nothing really dies. It might look to you, oh, this tree died. It will become light. Yes, this planet is light, manifested light. Yes, all of you is manifested light. Everything is manifested light. And when it comes to releasing emotions, yes, with many things, you will need to seek healing, perhaps. And it might not be enough and it has to do with belief systems. You see, if you
Yeah.
believed 100% in the power of the light, 100, more than 100, 110%, you believe in the power of the light, then the power of the light will prevail and bring you that which you desire. Yes, but you must believe in it 100%. So if you have beliefs that say, well, I need to process this and I need to have therapy for the next 40 years, then you're creating the reality where you are going to have therapy for the next 40 odd years. But if you decide that we are not diminishing the value of the having therapy, the talking cure, yes, we're not diminishing it. No, not at all. We're saying, yes, have it, but bear in mind that there are other things that you can employ and engage and bring about that integration that you wish to bring. And those other things are probably more powerful because you are working with ascended and transcended beings who have all the power of the light with them. And they can heal you. Yes. You can journey to these other realms and be healed directly by the angelic beings, for example, or any of those spirit helpers that you're working with, your unseen friends. Yes.
Is that a matter of asking for that?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I said you must ask because, as you said, as Zohar was mentioned in the discussion that you had previous to us coming through, yes, it is a universe of free choice, and therefore us and such as ourselves, we would never, ever, ever intrude upon you. Never. We cannot do it. We cannot. because it goes against that idea upon which all of this universe is based, the primal principle. This is a universe of free choice, and therefore you must ask. You must. It's not going to happen any other way. So if you're sitting there and you're wishful thinking about any subject in your life that is not working, you're giving it more and more attention without actually doing anything productive about it. So there has to be a point where, okay, now I understand it. Yes, and with some subject it could be that just understanding is not going to bring about healing, because understanding and healing are two different things. So you might still need to, you decide, well, I'm going to have some healing around this particular subject that seems to be like a thorny issue in my life, and I'm bringing as much light as I can into it together with my spirit allies. I've asked for the help, and now, yes, and as the help is coming, and as we said, you have to believe in the help that is coming, because if you have faulty beliefs, you're going to create crooked or distorted realities. You see, so it has to be a system where, yes, yes, I believe in the spiritual reality. I believe in my spirit helpers, my spirit allies. I believe in my sacred self and in the angels that I've been working with or I'm going to start working with. I really believe in those realms. Yes, and remember, those realms are much, much, much bigger than you who is doing a singular lifetime in the physical. Yes, right now you're not aware, most of you, of the many thousands of other lifetimes that are occurring concurrently. Your sacred self is aware. The sacred self is what holds it all together. And once you ask for their help, and you don't beg and you don't beseech, no, you're a spiritual human being. And it is a birthright that you have to be sovereign and to have that self authority and to be self governed and to be self determined, and self empowerment is your birthright. So you do not need to beg or beseech, because that can also take on a flavor of manipulation, and the spirit allies, those ascended and transcended beings, will not respond to manipulation, because by responding to them, they will then teach you that manipulation work, and you will also, as a result, teach yourself that manipulation works. So they will not respond. You have to stand tall as a spiritual being that you are, sovereign, and have that autonomy and that self-authority. Say, I request your help around this subject. Yes, I would like you to merge with me. Let us work together. And they will do it. They're just waiting. They have been waiting for so many lifetimes for you to ask for help. And here you are in this very significant lifetime that is so pivotal for you as a consciousness. Yes, all of you listening to this transmission, you're not doing a simple lifetime. No, this is a major one. Yes, pivotal, directional, significant, and it's not to be dismissed, it's to embraced and to be lived. Yes,
I think that's important to know, and I appreciate you, Sothis, for sharing that this is a very, for those of us going through challenging times
yes,
individually and collectively. It does seem like this is a pivotal moment for many people.
Yes, yes. For many of you, you're standing on the precipice. Yes, and from the precipice, you might fall. There is always the possibility. No, I'm not going to make it. But there is more, and especially once you're working with your spiritual domain, that the possibility that you're going to soar from that precipice into the next phase of your life where you are embodying higher frequencies, and as a result you are engaging with more and more with higher vibrationally frequencies, um, beings, high vibration beings, yes,
Can
or higher,
Sothis
yes.
touch on the concept of the wayshower, where someone is maybe as they bring in more light, it ripples and sets off other people?
Yes. So the archetype of the way shower is somebody who is, um, at least initially and very much within their psyche, a hermit. That's the hermit of the tarot. Is that the hermit is known as the wayshower because, and it is true for many of you that you need to retreat in order to go within and to learn directly from the spiritual sources that you have, those spirit allies within your spiritual realms, to learn directly. But the hermit as an archetype doesn't stay in their solitude and in their isolation. No, they come out, and in the typical depiction of the hermit, they're holding a light, and this is why they're known as the wayshower. So there is the requirement to withdraw, to go within, but then it's not for its own sake, it's for the purpose of coming out and showing the light to others so that they may follow. You see, because the world is in a at the moment it's a seesaw, yes, and what needs to happen is the seesaw has to be um, higher up in its vibrations so that you come into a state where 51% of the reality of the planet um, is is fundamentally light. It hinges on that powerful connection to the light, and as a result to the positive, and that which grows and expands rather than that which is in atrophy. Yes, and it diminishes and it withdraws and it decays. Yes, that's entropy. So rather than going into entropy, that so if you can get the whole planet to be 51% radiating that light, then the other 49% are going to follow because of the law of resonance. Yes, the law of resonance says that organically, and this is a reality that you know in science that says that when you have two bodies vibrating with different resonance, they will come into the lower resonance will rise up to the higher resonance, and they'll both end up vibrating at the higher resonance. And this is what needs to happen on your planet. And it has to come for you because of free choice. So you will have the help, but you have to ask for it. And you have been asking, which is why extraterrestrial contact is getting nearer and nearer, because your call has been heard, your voice has been heard, your words have been heard. Yes.
Mm. Sounds like things are happening quickly with that.
Yes, definitely happening. And yes, speeding up, accelerated journey.
Is before we wrap up with Sothis, is there anything Sothis would like to add before we bring Zohar back?
So we we would like to say to you that us and the many, many, many beings who surround your planet right now. Some are still in physicality, like those extraterrestrials you wish to meet, many of you, and some of them, like ourselves, are totally in the non-physical and have been for a very long time. So all of us who are observing your planet with a lot of love and with infinite compassion for yourself, for you individually. Yes, if you call upon us and such as ourselves, and we will come and we will work with you. And for those of you, we see you. We want to say to you that you are seen and you are known, and that we hold the light for you, even in your darkest moment. The light is there for you, and it just takes your willingness to put your head, if you like, above the parapet and to look and to realize that yes, yes, the spirit allies are there. Yes, my spiritual realm is here and is wishing to help me. And all I need to do individually is to be willing to receive the help. And we'd like to say also that we believe in you. You might not believe in yourself, but we believe in you because we know the power of the light. Yes, we know the power of the light. We've been working with this power for millennia and more. And we know that you will prevail, and we know that you will succeed. And we are holding the light for you, and we are holding our love for you and our compassion. And we are here by your will and by your wish. If you'd like to work with us, we are here, the many, many, many of us. And so, as we come to the completion of this transmission, as always behind us, we leave our many, many blessings, blessings of divine light and blessings of divine love and blessings of divine healing. And these blessings are for every day of your life and for every step of your journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Sothis. Welcome
I am
back,
back.
Zohar.
Thank you.
That was a wonderful transmission.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, great. Yes, it's always energizing because I kind of a little bit asleep. It's like I'm floating in on some warm air, and I can hear what they're saying, but I don't have a recollection of it because it's like a dream state. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
need to listen to a transmission just like everybody else to um, I mean, right now I probably remember the most salient points, but even that is beginning to fade. If you ask me 2 hours from now, it's all gone,
Yeah. Well, we'll have this
unfortunately.
recording.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm always looking forward to the recording so I can listen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, so Zohar, could you tell the audience where to find you? I know you're putting out a lot of stuff. You have a school, some ongoing transmissions and
Yes.
things like that.
Yes. So the website is zoharbahir.com. And Sothis is there and my shamanic work. And you can read about the transmissions, and they are $15 each, so it's available to anyone who would like to listen, and it's there.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So some of the things that you touched on earlier are there, meditations, transmissions to practice and to connect at a higher level. And some other ones I haven't listened to all of them, but they're quite good.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Zohar, for being
Yeah.
here and for sharing Sothis with us. And shout out to Ben Symes for connecting you with our community and getting this out there.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
it's a real
thank
joy.
you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Really enjoyed it, and hope we'll
Absolutely.
meet again.
Well, we will definitely we will do that. All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Yeah, and you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me on the Journey Mindfulness Podcast, where we explore the edges of consciousness, the depth of the soul, and the practices that bring it all into daily life. If you enjoyed today's conversation, follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you're ready to go deeper, I offer a free consultation to explore how we can work together through psychotherapy, quantum healing, or one-on-one transformational coaching. Visit journeymindfulness.com to learn more and schedule your free consultation. Until next time, stay present, stay curious, and enjoy the journey.